Yeah, we did ball. Yeah, season started out okay and then quickly devolved.
You're the sexiest team leader I've ever seen.
Oh, it's telling us, you're falling out of the shit. All right, are we, up and ready to go? Let's do it. I'm honestly.
Maybe I should definitely sound like your
Girlfriend, and I don't feel like I'm.
Oh.
cannibalized.
Thank you for. Friends literally. I should have.
Let's come to the side and it's not really good. Close to my mom. Testing, 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 testing.
Yes, please. Oh, excuse me. You're not right there. I thought it was just my office. But yeah. No, so when he's reading.
No, I don't agree. She's not,
We're working on sound. We'll get started shortly.
Left other
We're talking about you.
You just turn around like you're gonna beat someone up and it's kind of exciting to see if it's me or someone else.
That's your firm.
While we are waiting for the mic to start working, take a look at your market at a glance report and see what jumps out at you. So that when we get to that part of the meeting, I'm not looking at blank stares. Are we on right now?
Actually, we're quite. Yeah, there's just anybody everywhere. But yeah, it looks so. Evidence everywhere. Yeah. Are you going to the training?
Get started and then allocate. All right, so we are having an issue with the sound system, which is a great reminder for me to remind all of you, when you reserve the space, love, 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 love for you to be able to use this space for your events. Please make sure that you don't do anything with the sound equipment, and if you do, you make sure it's put back after.
Actually,
We're running
just don't
into
do it.
issues.
Just don't.
Do it.
Yeah, that's what we've got going on right now. So I apologize to anyone on Zoom. I hope you can hear something, or at least hear my apology. And Jess is gonna work to continue to try and fix this. So today at 1 o'clock is the How to Win and Sell with Investors class. So if you are still interested in attending this, you are still able to do so. You can head there right after the meeting. That is a CE approved course and is part of the Win with Sellers, Win with Buyers series focused on working with investors. That is going to be at the Salt Lake Community College Miller Free Enterprise Center, which is over at
That's today.
that is today at 1 o'clock. So you want to grab lunch and head there. 1, 2, 4. And then coming up, we have the NLP event. NLP is a skill set that anytime we have had a small training on this, I've had questions from agents about how they get NLP certified, how they get more in-depth information on using this tool. And John Vandergutst is coming into town for a 2-day event to go through a more comprehensive training on NLP. and specifically how to use it in real estate. So if this is something that you've been interested in, we're really working over the next year to bring you a lot of the skill set of closing, persuasion, negotiation, because moving into this market, that is the skill set that will be setting you apart from your competition. And this is one of the courses that will offer you that. It's a $149 course. They are doing a 2 tickets for the price of 1. So $75 a ticket. You can grab the QR code, and that will be at our South Valley office next week on the 16th and 17th. And lunch and dinner are provided. We have the Path to Capping Mastermind. So this is to remind you, a mastermind for all agents that are working towards becoming a capper. So if that is a goal that you are working on for 2024, if that is something you're in the process of, come and be a part of these high level conversations. I hear great things coming out of this mastermind. And the next session is Wednesday the 17th from 11 to 12. And thanks to our ALC members, Eladio and Shauna, that run that mastermind for us. We are full swing with our Ignite Training Bootcamp. So today is Tuesday. We had Grow Your Database with Eladio, Price to Sell, a CMA course, and then we follow up. And then tomorrow you've got Lending Basics with Brent Money, Win the Buyer with Ricky Aladrisi, and Win the Seller with Jeremy Martin. Thursday you got social media, tech orientation, and make and receive offers. And then Friday you've got negotiation, contracts to close, and open houses. So remember that you do not have to take Ignite in its entirety. And you are welcome to be a part of Ignite as many times as you would like. So if there are courses that you see on there that are areas that you are focused on building your skill set, increasing your business using that tactic in 2024, feel free to audit any of those individual courses. Jake.
Just wanted to let you know that grant monies class, the Lending Basics, is 1 CE elective credit as well. Just wanted to turn that one out.
That was like a, but wait, there's more moment. So not only do you get to build those skills, but wait, there's more, 1 elective CE.
I would add to that, actually.
Y'all, I'm like in a live infomercial right
Yeah.
now. Like the gives you like,
But wait,
all right, what do you
wait.
got?
So if you did need a CE credit and want to attend the entire week, you do get 6 credit hours plus his 1. What? For continuing education, right? So you get 7 hours if you come for the,
If
90%
you're here,
or so.
cool, okay.
Yeah.
So, maybe that doesn't feel like a big deal as you are sitting right now in your chair. I promise when it comes time for renewal and you wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh crap, is this my renewal month? And you look and it sure is, and you only have 2 CE credits and you're trying to figure out how to scramble and get those all, getting that full.
I can tell you how to do that. I'm very good at it.
During Speaks Realtor. Speaking of Jordan, we have our next Conduction and Connection event on Wednesday, the 17th from 4 to 5. This is
December, or are we
December
talking
17th.
January?
That
Well,
was, I don't know who did that, but it's meant to say January.
definitely not.
It is January.
Yeah, is that on a Wednesday?
Yes,
Okay.
Wednesday, January 17th, can confirm.
It's just
So
correct, JAN.
Okay, just so that I don't show up to expect treats from Jordan and don't get anything. Twist me
That
on.
was my next, I wanted to say, if there are any suggestions on what you would like to see there, let me know, because I have time to prep for it.
Like. Now, posture.
that's not like a microphone.
Let me know.
What's the hardest thing you've ever made? Yay. Well, wait,
There's a cake that like, it's so much effort and it's not even worth the cake. It doesn't taste
so
like
what that,
great. Yeah, but it doesn't taste like great.
Testing.
should I turn it down to my?
Yeah, maybe up just a little bit. Testing. Woo-hoo. The correct question, or the correct answer to that question is turnovers, always turnovers. There's other great
I
things,
did
but always
gluten-free
turnovers.
chocolate chip cookies last time, so I mean, if you have dietary restrictions, let me know and I'll work around that.
For those of you who don't know, Jordan had a stellar production year and decided that he would celebrate by going to culinary school. And as his team leader, I should have encouraged him to stay here in the valley and focus on selling more real estate. But instead, I very much encouraged them to go up to Park City and go to Culinary Academy because it meant that we got all sorts of amazing treats. And if you have not had a Jordan McQueen baked good, you're missing out. So join us for Confections and Connections for that, and also like the really great company and good conversation with the ALC and a chance to get to know other agents in a fun, low-key social setting. Mostly for baked goods stuff.
It's been really fun to get to know the new agents. I
Oh,
feel
let's
like-
ready the mic now that we have salary.
Yeah.
Wait. I cheated that. I feel like it's been a really good opportunity to meet new agents. They kind of slide under the radar sometimes. And this is just somewhere that they can be socially and get to know people. So just kind of get to know who's there. I feel like it's been beneficial for them, getting to new agents, finding showing assistants, finding someone that can help you out with your own business. So anyway, it's a good way to go.
Great. So if you happen to be one of those new agents who's signing under the radar, or if you're not a new agent who's signing under the radar and you look around the room and go, there's a bunch of people here that I don't recognize and I feel like I've never seen before, that is your sign. You should join us for Confection and Connection. And thank you, Jordan, for putting that event together and giving us that opportunity to spend time together. If you are not going to win the investor, you are invited to head to the broker open that the J. Larson Group is holding right after its meeting today. So that's 1 to 3 p.m. Beautiful new listing that they have, 1514 South, 13th East. This was an immaculately done renovation, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's a cool property. And if you talk to them, you can certainly get permission to record video, take some pictures. This would be great content for social media. 8 weeks to wealth. Several of our agents have taken advantage of this course being offered through Keller Williams International. It is only going to be offered one time this year, and it launches January 24th. So if this is something that has been on your radar, we are really committed to you that you are building a business that's worth having, a legacy that's worth leaving, and a part of that is your wealth building and your wealth management. And unfortunately, this is something that I think we, in general, in our industry, do not get enough training, education, support, and masterminding around. So everyone I know who has taken this course has come back with rave reviews. Cameron Burnside has done a lot with the wealth building division at Keller Williams, so you could certainly ask him. Wealth building is a real focus for Cameron. He's done some courses for us. So this is a digital course. It is a group setting, $395, and like I said, January 24th is the day that will launch. So, all right, PC moment. Let's get them both mics.
Awesome, thank you.
Hello, hello.
And the clicker is right there when you're ready to do
Oh.
slides.
Okay. So we're here. We just wanted to give you a quick update on what's going on with the PC team. So this week we have lots of cool stuff. One quick update, maybe I should start here. We have one quick update. We have changed one of our courses. So we've been doing a real estate basics class every week for whoever is interested in coming to that. We've themed it to be Ignite After Dark. So what that means is we now have an after hours Ignite that people can come to. It's every Thursday and it's on Zoom. So I just want to let you know that's an option out there. So if you want to brush up on some of your core real estate skills, that'd be a great place to do it. And if you know of someone who might need help with that, send them our way. We have our calendars around here now. If you need any access to that, we've got Zoom links and everything we can get for you. That's probably the biggest change for this year. We're also doing group prospecting. If you want to join us, we'd love to have you. Tomorrow, it's actually going to be here. We're going to have bacon and eggs. It's from 9 to noon. Anyone know why we're having bacon and eggs this week? Marcel, do you know?
B&E.
B&E. So if you are into the DTD2 system, next week or this week is the B&E week. So we're doing bacon and eggs to make sure that we stay in touch with our bees.
Last week we had burger floats for AW.
Yeah. So it's going to be good. So what else we have that?
I think you got it all.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Margarita, you mind coming up real quick?
Margarita. Okay, so we do have, I will explain this as well. So we do have another club that we would love to have people join us. I'm sure you've heard a lot of talk about the 201 Club, which is our goal is to get everybody in our program to 201 contacts with their name, their address, their phone number, their email, their birthday, and their social media links to get you to a 100% in command. I don't know if you guys look at your reports in there, but we set a huge challenge for our group to hit 201 people, and they had to have a 75% minimum on all 4 of those categories. And so, if we could get a drum roll, please. Our winner is Margarita. She worked so hard and she, I'm so excited. She just won a free ticket to family reunion, so she's gonna come along with us, we hope. Congrats. This is so exciting. Oh,
So hard, can't wait to see you there. You could probably, I saw we have a list going over here on the
Yeah, you gotta
bulletin
throw your
board as
name out
well,
there.
so you have to add your name to that list, so. Congratulations.
congrats. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Never won anything. While we're on the topic of. Yes, while we're on the topic of family reunion, tickets are currently still $8.99. That price is set to go up in 2 weeks. So if you are planning on attending family reunion, still wanting to attend family reunion, we have keynote speakers, Tony Robbins, Mel Robbins, Gary Keller, obviously. We are also going to be doing our regional awards night. That's going to be at the House of Blues, and a really fun way to celebrate 2023's accomplishments. So we would love to have you all there. We do have a couple of rooms, hotel rooms that we reserved when the blocks were open and they were at a slightly discounted rate. We have to assign agents to those, transfer them to someone else, or release them soon. So if you are going, whether or not you buy your ticket, if you need a hotel room, see Jess, and she can get you information about what we have available, so you can see if that would work for you. Who has listings coming soon? Let's run Jordan the mic.
I have a 2-bedroom, 1-car garage townhome out in Harriman. That's a really big open space. And it's 1,200 square feet. It's gonna be listed at $350. Photos are being taken today. We'll have an open house on Saturday. It's actually a really cute little place. So if you have any buyers that are needing some help on the overhead range, it's got a nice open kitchen. It's a nice layout for the price range.
Awesome.
I have a house in Hideout that is coming up this weekend. It's it'll probably be 3.8. It's 5 bedroom, 5 full bath. It's 2.5, well, 5 full bath and then 2 half bath. It's about 6,081 square feet. And it has a 0.43 acre, and the views are awesome. It was beautiful.
Awesome. Lori?
We have a house hitting the market tomorrow in Sandy. It's on the bluff over by Home Depot on 9400 South and 2000 East. It is 5 bedroom, 4 bath, great price at $929.9. Great prices, new paint, new carpet, everything. And most importantly, it's across the street from Swig. So if you sell a house, I would buy you to Swig.
Oh yeah, Swig bonus, anyway. Jordan?
Got a 4-bed, 2.5 bath and American Fort coming up. It's a great little starter home, only a few years old. It will be 5 for you.
Awesome. All right, last call, anything else? Love hearing all of the activity and the listings coming soon. We had 9 listings taken this week, so that's definitely an uptick from last week. Congratulations to Cameron Burnside, Carol Autry, Mike Hesbach had 3 new listings taken this week, Lori P, Joey Gamboa, and Zuniga, Jordan Larson and Joel Frost, all Listings taken this week. Let's give everyone one clap on. Just go around. Now that I have a microphone on, I would like to make very clear, go on record and have it recorded on Zoom. I am not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh, wait, can you start that over again,
Hurts-
hold please?
It hurts my soul to even say like the words Dallas Cowboys out loud. Unless I am trash talking them. And unfortunately, I chose to trash talk them a little bit hard in the preseason. I am a Washington Commanders fan. The Washington Commanders have consistently broken my heart for, I don't know, the last 20 years or so. But I am ferociously loyal and not that bright apparently, and continue to cheer for them. So it was the preseason. I was feeling really optimistic about the season we were going to have. I talked a lot of smack to my dear friend Sherry Rice. We were golfing. It was a thing. So I don't know if y'all watched, but the Cowboys definitely spanked the Commanders in our last game of the season, and like dominated our division and were really great and whatever. And therefore I am here in a Cowboys jersey, and so no one stand too close because it's very possible that lightning is going to come through the window at some point and strike me. Yeah, I think that's the end of my disclosure. Had I won, you get to see Sherry in my super cute sparkly Washington Commanders boots, but
And I would have rocked those things like no other.
but you're probably gonna have to stick around for another 40 years before that day comes. All right, that's all I got on that.
Well, we decided you look great blue, so
Yes.
just saying.
Thank you. One and only time it's happened. So. And next season, please, someone remind me to keep my mouth in check. So this month, we are really pleased to have Tana Barker, who is a member of our ALC, be our ALC Spotlight Member of the Month. You may know Tana not just from being here at the Market Center, but from her TikTok fame as the real estate agent who swallowed an AirPod. If you don't know that story, definitely hit her up on that. I really want Tana to start teaching our social media class and just tell people that all they have to do to become social media famous is swallow their AirPod. And the doctors assure her that it's mostly safe. But Tana, if you come up and just share a little bit about who you are and what's working in your business. Let's give Tana a round of applause. Tana, tell us, how long have you been in the real estate industry?
I've been in real estate for 6 years and 6 years with Keller Williams in February.
Okay, so 6 years in the industry and then 6 years in February will be your anniversary, happy almost anniversary. What got you into real estate?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I moved a lot growing up, and so I fell in love with homes. I just felt like, I mean, we would go all over. There would be new houses, old houses, and every time I come to a home, I would feel like had a personality. And so I learned about Cofer ceilings and wainscoting or cotting, however you want to say it, bay windows, and I mean, just all the things. And my mom actually would draw these professional looking blueprints. And so I just fell in love with it. So I've always kind of done things that had to do with real estate. I ran in Vegas, I ran 21 HOAs. Tell me that was not fun.
I don't like dealing with one. No, 21 sounds insane.
Yeah, I ran 21. Here I ran an appraisal management company for a little while. I owned a cleaning company, a painting company, insulation. I just a lot of stuff that always had to do with houses. And so then a few years ago, I was like, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I was 47. And I decided that I wanted to go to real estate. So I did, and love it. I'm so glad I did it.
And then talk us through kind of the path of your career. So you started out on a team, is that right? And then how long were you on the team? And then what's when you decided you were ready to launch your solo career? To be a Beyonce.
Yeah. I was with a team for about 3.5 years, and their whole marketing plan was Zillow leads and stuff, because when I got into real estate, I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. And so I just started, on Zillow Leads, just like speed to lead, right? And so I did that for a little while, then it didn't, after a few years, I decided that I needed to look at my books. And I realized that I was making more from my SOI at that point than I was from putting out money for leads. So I totally changed that and decided to go to solo.
I love that. And one of the things, and we've talked about this before, that I love about your business is that you did have investment in that platform. You understood the game, you hit the speed to lead, but you also understood relationships. And so you were able to take that and build your SOI through that tool and really go deep so that you were able to maximize, even if you look at the profitability when you were running the platform, maybe it was more lean margins, but if you then are getting 2, 3, 4 future transactions for that, it makes a big difference. So it's something that I've always been impressed with for that.
Thank you.
So tell us about this last year. What was business like for you? What are a few of the things that you're most proud of, or milestones that you reached that you're excited to share about?
Okay, I feel like you're wanting me to say something, but I'm not.
No.
But last year I felt like my focus, what you focus on grows. And I was really focused on public speaking because I want that to be one of my pillars. So I really focused on that. I started public speaking. I'm now a paid public speaker, so that's awesome. And I talk about worthiness. I'd love to do something for here sometime. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then I focused a lot on that. And so I feel like my business went down a little bit. It's actually my slowest year that I've had since I started real estate. But this year I am starting on fire. I'm ready to rock and roll, and I'm marrying both the things that I've been focusing on. So
I love that. So how did you evaluate the public speaking to identify, like, okay, this is how I can use this as a business platform so that I can do this thing that I feel passionate about and put focus there and have a building business so that I'm not having a low year?
I think the thing with me is that I've struggled with imposter syndrome since I started real estate. And I think a lot of through my life, whenever I started something new, whenever we start something new, we step into it and we are an imposter until we start to do it. So I really struggled with that with real estate because the market changes so much. So I would feel like, oh, I'm getting going and feel comfortable, and then it would change again. And then I'd be like, okay, so it's just constantly changing. And I've always wanted to be a public speaker. And so when I had the opportunity to do both, I started looking at, okay, how can I implement this in the real estate industry? And so that's what started me down that path.
I love that. One of the things that I think you do really well is your social media, and I teased about you teaching a class and telling people just swallow an AirPod. But if you've watched the Take Two with Tana, your content is really good and it's engaging. How do you decide what to talk about on social media? And do you have a couple of tips that you can share with everyone about social media?
I used to just post a post, and I wasn't really paying attention to what my content was. And then I started realizing that it's important. The content is important, and people want to know what you know, that you are the digital mayor of your social media, of your town, of the area. So I subscribe to Keeping Current Matters. They have some great platform, and they have actually you can record and read what you're recording. I started out just reading those, and now I've started to tweak them so they're me. And so just be you. I think that's the most important thing, is be you, be real, and show not only real estate, show you personally who you are.
Yeah, you do a great job with really being authentic in front of the camera, which is probably easy to do. So the new listing that you have, is that going to be a career high for purchase price or for list price? Yeah, for a round of applause for that. Anything else that you're particularly excited about or focused on in 2024?
I am moving my business towards luxury more. I've got a goal of 5 homes of over $1 million or more for next year. That would be an all-time high for me. And yeah, I've got big goals.
And then what, tell me about your involvement with the ALC. Why did you choose to become a part of the ALC? And what committee did you focus on last year, or what are you focused on in this year?
I'll be honest, when I started with the ALC, I had no clue what I was doing, or what it was. I did not know what it was. I was like, they're like, oh, do you want to be on the ALC? I'm like, sure. Yeah, okay. So, as I dove in,
Sure.
I realized how much I loved it. And so it's been really awesome to be involved with other top producers in the industry, to glean from them and learn from them. And I would say I was in overgrowth and retention, and I'm going to do growth and retention again this year. And I feel like it goes hand in hand with the public speaking, with different things I'm getting involved with. I'm involved with Women's Council of Real Estate. So realtors, if you want to get involved with that, let me know. And if you want to get involved with the ALC, reach out to any of the ALC members. If you want to get directly involved with growth and retention, get in touch with me, and let's get some things on the calendar to help with that. Love to support Jordan with the confections and connections, because that is a good way for growth and retention. So really step into that. Anything, I think my biggest thing when I started with Keller Williams is before I even knew what Keller Williams stood for, I was God, family, and business. I got involved with Keller Williams, and lo and behold, God, family, business is what they stand for. So, and it is like a fire hose. Like, if you want to learn anything, just tap in. And so the more you get involved, the more you will grow, I promise. And I will say this, if you take action, you will grow, I promise.
Well, I love that, and I love you, and thank you so much for sharing all of this. Right, so you talked about growth, and last year we added almost 100 agents to our market center. So we are not going to go through all of the slides, but welcome to all of the agents that joined us in this last year. And then this year, our focus is bringing on 140 more agents to Keller Williams. And so when you are doing a transaction with an agent that you're impressed with, you meet somebody at an industry event that you enjoy spending time with, enjoy talking with them, someone that you'd want to mastermind with, someone that you'd want to have on the other end of a transaction in the future, my ask is that you just introduce us. It does not have to be high pressure. I'm not asking any of you to become the KW sales force out in the market, but just to make those introductions so that I am in conversations with the kind of agents that we want to be in business with. And let's just give a quick round of applause. Welcome to all of the agents that joined us tonight. And then happy birthday. So we're gonna sing. Y'all, I'm just getting over being sick. So I'm definitely turning off this mic, and you had better sing loud. We're gonna go first names down through that for the singing. All right. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashley, Joe, Kim, Molly, Mike, Terry, Flavia, Lady, Ruben, Lisa. Happy birthday to you. And then happy anniversary to Katarina, Eric, Belen, Brianna, Beth, Molly, Nelson, Yasmani, Joanne, and for Jordan McQueen with 9 years. All right, so you have your market at a glance. Staff had a chance to look at these before the microphone was working. So lightning round, Looking at these stats, what we've had happen in the last 2 weeks in our market and comparing that to the last stat, what jumps out at you? Where's the story here that you'd be sharing with your client?
Less days on the market.
Okay, so we're seeing days on market go down.
Multiple offers.
Multiple offers, so say more about that.
Usually there's one offer, now there are multiple.
Thank you very much.
Feel like, across a lot of, price ranges, I'm hearing more and more of, oh, we've got an offer, we've got another one, if you want to do something. And I haven't heard that for a couple of months now.
No, I'm definitely seeing the same thing, and properties that have been sitting stagnant, suddenly moving. You spend any amount of time with me, y'all know I am big on case studies and using case studies when you have appointments. So in listing appointments, I love for you to have examples, that is a story that you can tell that illustrates the strategy or the point that you are working to convey to your client. Case studies are also very powerful when you're working with buyers. So when you're watching the market, if you see a property that has multiple offers, or you hear somebody in team meeting share that, yeah, I had this property, it was on the market, we had multiple offers, here's what happened with it. Print out a copy of that MLS, write a few bullet points about that story in there, and keep those in a file. So that when you are meeting with buyers and you're talking about what's happening in the market, you can share in the current market, this is the competitive advantage that you have and the options that you have available. And we are still seeing properties that are priced right, that are marketed aggressively, that are selling quickly and multiple offers. Can I share with you what I mean? And when you can pull out an MLS sheet and talk about, one of the agents that I work with, Jordan McQueen, had a listing, and you can see it was on the market for this many days, and they ended up having multiple offers and selling above list price, or they ended up with multiple offers and selling whatever it sold. It honestly doesn't even matter if the story that you're telling, none of that data is what they're looking at. Just like if you're going through what's happening in the market and you are sharing, like what Jordan said, we're seeing more multiple offers. If they have the visual of the market stats, it really doesn't matter that nowhere on this form does it say, and we're seeing multiple offers. It's just the visible, tangible confirmation of having some sort of a visual aid for them to look at when you are telling the story. So print off MLS sheets when you see that happening. Watch for the stories in the market that illustrate what you are seeing happen, so that then when you are sharing this with the clients, it isn't, hey, I'm seeing a lot of this. It is a specific, hey, I'm seeing a lot of this. Here's one example of when this is happening. And it just gives you that reinforcement of proof. Any last thoughts on market at a glance? Yeah.
Just looking at the absorption rate, we do not have very much inventory. And as the interest rates go down, the competition is going to get more fierce. So, talk to your clients about getting in it now before it gets a bloodbath.
Yeah. And when we get to the 4 conversations, one of the conversations we're going to talk about ties directly to that. Anything else? All right. So lunch today is sponsored by Acclaimed Home Warranty. And do we have Sandra on Zoom?
I don't know.
She wasn't able to join. Okay, so let's just send Sandra so much love and appreciation. She was not able to be here with us today, but wanted to sponsor our team meeting. Many of our agents have worked with Acclaimed Home Warranty and had a great experience. My brother has an Acclaimed Home Warranty, and they've been really good to him. Her number is there, and so send them your appreciation for lunch. And also, when you have clients with a home warranty need, send them your business. All right, so Jess is passing out copies of the 4 conversations that you need to be prepared to have this month. And, one of the things that we are going to be really working on and, looking at in 2024 is arming you with the conversations to respond to consumer behavior, questions that are coming up, objections that you are likely to be hearing a lot of. And anytime we start talking about sort of scripted conversations, I get kind of two camps of people. And so we have the camp over here that loves the scripted conversation, and that actually, if they don't have an outline of what they're going to say, feels really anxious about making calls, jumping into the conversation at all. And so they get sort of paralyzed. So having something printed out that they can look at is right up their alley. If this is what you fall into, congratulations, you get to take like a 2.5 minute break and don't listen to me for a minute because I'm going to talk to the other camp over here. The other camp of people are those who say, I absolutely would never, ever use a script. And there's all sorts of reasons for that, but usually the most common one is that doesn't feel authentic, it feels cheesy, this doesn't feel like me. So let's have like a moment of truth, like raise your hand if you fall into this camp over here. Okay. All right, okay, so I think we're more mostly over here, so I'm gonna proceed as though everyone is super open to this. But if as we're talking about it, I get to a line and you're like, I would never say that, you have to raise your hand right there and cough up to the fact that you're a little bit over in this group, okay? Having a script, we all operate on a script. You have a script, whether or not you think you do, your script might just suck. If it isn't thoughtful, if it isn't clear, if it isn't prepared, it is the script of what you always say when you get asked questions, and it's just probably not effective. So when you are going through the year, if you are finding that your conversion rate isn't where you want it to be, spending some skill building on what you say and how you say it is probably in order. So y'all said you're mostly over here in this side, we understand the value. So then my follow-up question is, I guess by show of hands, and we'll go in increments of 10. So if you spend 10 minutes a day on this, you'd hold up a number 1. If you spend 20 minutes a day, you'd hold up a number 2. Are we clear on the dots? Okay. So how much time daily are you spending working on your conversations and being more effective and persuasive in how you talk? How much time daily is being spent? Okay, so we got 20 minutes, we got 0 minutes, whole lot of zeros, whole lot of hands not going up, so I'm gonna think zeros. So my question to you is this. If you're over here and you know they work, and you know they're effective and they're important, and we agree to all of that, and you're not spending any time working on them, why? Now, maybe it's that you feel so effective in your conversations that let me talk to anyone and I know I'm 100%. I'm going to get that conversion. If they want to buy, if they want to sell, they're going to work with me and we're going to get it there. And if that is the case, awesome. Please come see me after a team meeting because I would like you to do some training. If that is not the case, just make it a good time to have a check-in with yourself about what are your priorities. What are the skills that you have identified are important to your success? And what is the investment that you are making in your time on working with them? Okay, so you got the scripts in front of you, the conversations in front of you that you're going to have in a very TCPA compliant way. The first conversation that you need to be ready to have heading into this year is a conversation that we've been having for quite a while. I want to wait for rates to come down. Who here has had a client say that to them before? Okay, So, these conversations came from Jeff Glover. And I'll tell you what I liked about how this was structured. So the conversation is, do you know what's interesting about what you just said? You're the fifth person this week that told me the exact same thing. And can I tell you why that concerns me? If everyone is waiting for interest rates to come down, what do you think will happen to demand when they finally do? Would you rather buy now while prices are fair and refinance later, or wait and pay more with everyone else? Because you can always refi a mortgage, but you cannot renegotiate a purchase price. So the things that I love about this conversation, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit tired of hearing the date the rate, marry the house comparison. It's been overused, and I'm seeing a lot of nods, and that makes me feel like I'm in good company. It's overused, there's some problems with it. And anytime something gets used that much, it becomes like a yeah. And we're not dating or marrying either the house or the rate. So, but I do like, because this is very true, you can refi a mortgage, you cannot renegotiate your purchase price. Now, I can throw an asterisk on there, unless you bought in 2008, and then we had the whole, you know, adjustments, and if you were gonna avoid a short sale, then maybe you could get them to actually reach that. But for the most part, you can't renegotiate after the time that you have bought the house. That is what it is. And most of the time, you can refinance a mortgage. Now, would it make sense to or not make sense to? Maybe. You can't predict that, but you could refinance the mortgage. So I like that because it's true. And because it takes that sort of tightness out of it. I like the would you rather buy now while prices are fair. Fairness is important to people. I also think that fairness is a concept that doesn't really exist, but that doesn't matter. Other people do. Other people feel that something is fair or is not fair. And so there is a universal desire to have situations be fair. And so feeling like you're going to get a property at a fair price feels good. And then you have the option to refinance later, or waiting to pay more with everyone else. Does not feel good. So that everyone else and that everyone is waiting for interest rates to come down is what makes the magic of you are the blank person this week to tell me that. Now, if you are talking to the number of people that you should be talking to in order to reach your 2024 goals, do you think it's reasonable you're going to have at least 5 people tell you, I'm going to wait for rates to come down? Yeah. So if you look at this conversation and say, well, I couldn't use that because no one else has told me that they're waiting for rates to come down. That just told me you're not having enough conversations. You also could lean on the experience of others with this. So this is your very first call that you are ever making. And so this is going to be the first person to tell you they're waiting on rates to come down. You can say you are the 5th person that I've heard about this week that has told us the exact same thing. And I've been talking to other agents in my office. You are the 5th person that I've heard that's thinking this exact same thing. And you know why that concerns me? And I'm telling you all right now, I personally, not being involved in production anymore, have had at least 5 people this week tell me that they're waiting for rates to come down. So you hereby all have permission to use that conversation and know that you are operating in integrity and in truth. If you need to stop by my office once a week to find out how many people I've heard say that they're waiting for rates to come down, please do. But this is a conversation that you want to have ready to just roll off of your time. What I experience when I'm hearing agents talk about this objection is we get into a whole lot of exposition. It's a whole lot of talking and, well, I mean, rates could come down, and if they do, then this is going to happen, and then what about this? And I like that this is concise. I like that it is clear, and that it tells a story in fewer words. That is the other beauty of scripted conversations, is that it allows you to share the same point that you would be sharing without this tool, but it allows you to share it in fewer words, which makes it easier to hear and be understood. Thoughts, comments? Raise your hand if you look at this and say, I would absolutely never use this. I hope the next one isn't this bad. Okay, cool. So next one is rates are too high. So basically the same thing, packaged up differently. So at what interest rate would you be comfortable purchasing? So you're talking to somebody about buying, they say, you know, rates are just too high. Yeah, sure, I can understand that. I'm curious, at what rate would you be comfortable purchasing? Then they tell you. Now, if they tell you 3%, that is a different conversation. Most people aren't going to, because I think most people have wrapped their brain around the fact that, you know, 2.5%, 3% was beautiful, and that has gone the way of the dodo. But if they do, then that's a different conversation. But if they come back and say, you know, I just think if they could get below 6, I think if they could be at 6, I think if we could just get off of 7, whatever their answer is, if it is within the realm of what is reasonable for rates to presumably go down to at some point, and in the realm of what would be potentially able to be accomplished with a rate buy down, then the follow-up is, okay, 6% is fair. And you might even push on this a little bit further. So Sean, let me ask you, does it have to be at 6? Or if it was like 6.25, 6.5, would that still be something that you'd be wanting to look at moving forward? Maybe quantify that a little bit more. Then if I could convince a seller to buy down your rate to 6.5%, would you buy now, or would you still want to wait? So what I love about this conversation, one, it helps them see the possibilities and quantifies that. I am a huge fan of the, I don't know if we can, but if we could, would you want to? So I don't know if we can convince because sometimes that's the follow-up, right? Like if I could convince a seller to buy down your rate to 6%, would you want to? Well, can you convince a seller to buy down rate to 6%? You know, Shauna, on the right home that you want to move forward with, I don't know. That's a negotiation that we would have to look at the time. But I'm curious, if we could, would you want to? Okay, then let's look at this. Let's get these started, and we can find the right property. And then if that can be negotiated, we move forward. And if it can't, we wait. And the rates will come down. The other thing about this conversation is that it can help flesh out what the real objection is. One of the challenges that I think we face in working in sales and in working with people is that really often the objection that you get is not the actual objection that is stopping them. And when that is the case, if you don't get to the actual objection and resolve that, you are chasing these red herrings of objections that they never actually cared about in the first place. So then if you've ever had a time that someone has brought an objection to you and you have found a way to resolve that issue and a way to fix it, and they're like, I'm still not going to move forward, and you like wanted to throw them out of a window, that is because you didn't discover the real objection. And so, so I like this conversation because it does help you to unearth that a little bit so that you are addressing the right thing. A lot of times those fake objections will show up as what everybody else in the market is saying. So this buyer may not actually care about rates being too high or rates getting down to 6% at all. They might be really worried because they don't know if their job is going to be steady, and they might be leaving Utah completely, and they haven't, figured all of that out yet. But they hear everybody talking about the rates being high, and so that becomes an easy objection to throw out to shut down a conversation. So use this as an opportunity to kind of flesh that out. Questions, thoughts?
Love it.
All right, Shauna says that's pretty good. Anybody else want to fight Shauna on that and tell her it's not? Okay. Third conversation. This one's for sellers, and this is the days on market is the enemy conversation. So this is a great conversation to have while you're using this market at a glance as a visual. Days on market is the enemy to your home's value. May I explain? When you bought your house, what were some of the questions that you had for your agent? And then you shut up and you let them list it. When they tell you what their question was, don't say, wrong answer. The answer was days on market. If they say, I wanted to know about the age of the roof, I wondered about the neighborhood, great, what else? I wanted to know about the construction, I wanted to know about how long they've lived there. Okay, great, what else? Go until it seems like they don't have anything else that they can think of that they asked the agent. If they don't hit on, I wanted to know how long it had been on the market, then you can ask, did you ever ask about how long it had been on the market? Now, y'all know that they did, because when have you had a buyer that didn't ask? But let's say that they say, oh no, I never even thought of that at all. Okay, so I'm curious, you're looking at homes that are going to be your next destination when you sell here. As you've been looking at those online, have you noticed when it lists days on market? Have you noticed how long it's been on the market? Have you ever noticed a property that's been sitting on the market for longer? If you see a property that's been on the market for an extended time, you might wonder what's wrong with the property and dismiss it, or you might assume that you can offer less because it's been sitting on the market and the sellers are likely getting anxious. Don't you feel like most buyers would feel the same way? Anytime you can tie an experience that your client has had, a thought that they have had, to how most people are going to feel, it will help you, especially in these listings conversations. It works with the buyers conversations too. But I just really do go to, especially in these listing conversations, because when you get an agent or when you get a client that gets caught up in, my house is so much better and I know that everything else on my street has sold for $50,000 less than I want, but really mine is just the best. If you can tie that to, so as we've looked at homes, if you looked at a house on the street and it was the best house on the street, and yet all of the homes over the same square footage, same fit and finish, they weren't the very best, but they were close, we're selling for $50,000 less. Would you feel like you should be spending less on the property? Don't you agree that most buyers would feel the same way they do? It's very hard then, because they would have to argue against themselves and their own logic to argue against what the buyer's psychology is. Thoughts on this one?
I like the enemy part on it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had kind of the same conversation, but I don't use enemy. And I kind of like it because it just adds a element of seriousness, more seriousness to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. All right, last one, and we're gonna glide through this one fairly quickly. There's two aspects to this conversation. One is when you're talking to sellers, one is when you're talking to buyers. And this conversation is designed for your spring pipeline. So in talking to agents, I'm hearing about a lot of agents that are working with clients that have said they're holding off to the spring, which is great. I expect you are all going to be in business in the spring, and you'll take closings and cash checks in the spring. So spring is truly the best time for your client to sell or your client to buy. Support it, set a game plan, get things rolling. But for a lot of your spring pipeline, saying that they're going to move forward in the spring is a great way for them to kick the can down later, or is a different way for them to say rates are too high, rates are too high, or rates are too high. So this conversation is designed to allow you to offer an alternative possibility. My caveat on this one would be, I would not suggest using this with everyone that has said they're moving forward in the spring. I would uncover more about motivation and strategy, and then use this conversation when you're talking to someone that really the best strategy for their motivation is not to wait till the spring. Seller's conversation, the thing that I like the most about this is I understand that moving in the winter isn't what you had originally planned. But if you knew that selling or buying in January meant that you weren't actually moving until March or April, would that put your schedule better? Sometimes I do think there's that emotional feel of, yeah, I want to do the spring because living in this doesn't sound like a lot of fun. And so being able to adjust that perspective to, yeah, I agree, I wouldn't want to move in the winter either. So if you knew that starting to look at homes now putting something under contract meant that you would actually most likely be moving in March or April, would it make sense for us to get started now?
One of the things I've noticed in my business, I don't know if anybody else has, but when in the top of our market that we just had, I had a lot of buyers, they'd say, hey, I want to look for a house in this price range. And I was like, oh yeah, that's not gonna happen. There's nothing in that price range. I've noticed more of that price range is popping up. And I'm getting, because those buyers still wanted to buy, there just wasn't anything available. They're still watching the market and they're starting to call me because those things are popping up now.
That is a great point, and that's another great place that you could use this market at a glance. That if you have someone who stops looking because they're not seeing anything that's hitting the market in the $600,000 to $700,000 range, and then you are watching this every week and see, wow, that's been going up incrementally, and now we're seeing a really big spike with that. That's a great time to call them and share that information. You know, I've been watching this price range that you were considering, Eladio, because I know when we looked a couple of months ago, you were interested in moving forward, but really there just wasn't much on the market. And I wanted to share with you that at the time that we were looking, so if I pick this random week, let's say the week of November 10th, there was 10 homes that hit the market in all of Salt Lake County that were in that price range. Do you know how many hit the market this last week? 25. So we've seen that number more than double. And that got me thinking, I know that, at least when we were looking before, the only thing that was keeping you from moving forward is that there wasn't inventory. Is that still the case? Okay, great. So with this increasing, would it make sense for us to just explore and see if maybe the right property is getting on market? How about that? Okay, final thoughts, questions?
I have a final thought.
All right.
If you go, there's a couple things, you can always get, to practice these scripts, you can always find an accountability or a script buddy. Or there's also, sometimes I follow, it's on Maps Coaching. I think it's Denny, that's a bold coach, you can't remember his last name, but he does live role playing. And they have some pretty good things. I mean, he's the animal. Sometimes if somebody's like trying to be a jerk on there with their role playing, but it's really good to watch. So and it's on Facebook, and you just can catch those role playing situations. I think you can call in and do your own situation, and he'll run it through with you too.
Awesome. Yeah, there is daily live role play available for Keller Williams. I'll make sure to include that link. I think having an accountability partner is a great thing. I'm sure I'm the only one that this is true for. I really hate role playing. 17 years in and standing over in this camp and knowing that it's important, I still hate it. And I suffer from this affliction where I want to be good at something right away. And not being good at it is really, really painful. So for me, I like having the script and role playing by myself for like at least 10-15 minutes and then role playing it with someone else. For me, that's enough to get me over that need for perfection, enough to feel like, okay, I know I'm not going to be great at this yet, but I feel like maybe I'm not going to suck quite so much. The great thing about having a role play partner is that they are thinking the whole time that you are talking about the fact that they are next and they don't feel ready for it, and about what you're going to think about what they say anyway. Sherry, you misbehaving.
Yes.
I am, I'm
Don't you bring
so,
dishonor to this horrible journey that I'm in.
you know, I am so
So, I mean, the great thing is they're barely listening to you. They are very most likely not judging. Did you just say that word funny, or did you flub up what you were saying in the script? Because honestly, they are stressing about their own role play and their turn coming up next. So, my quick rules for working with a role play partner. Decide ahead of time how many objections they're going to throw out. And that's going to depend on where you're at and working on a conversation. When you are first working on a conversation, have that be a lay down appointment. When you role play it, just go through your conversation and have them say, yes, you are right, Sherry, I would love to buy a house right now, let's do this. And then once you get comfortable with that, then say, okay, so now will you give me a couple of objections? But the rule of role playing is you always end on a win. It is baffling to me when I see people role play and they will end that role play without actually getting the appointment. Y'all don't be jerks, like, set the appointment with each other. So, so that's rule number one. Rule number two, when I am in role play mode, we don't have conversation about how it went after. So if I role play this with Sherry and I'm being the agent and she's being the buyer, then when we finish, she doesn't give me feedback about, oh, this was really great and maybe work on this and you might want to just shift this around a little bit. The reason for that is that I have too much I in my personality and we will end up talking for 30 minutes when the whole role play thing was supposed to be done in 15 minutes. And I'll be the only one who ran through the script. We'll run out of time for Sherry to do it. So when it is role play mode, ring, ring, I roll through the script. She goes through a couple of objections. If that's what we've agreed to, she closes for the appointment. Then we switch places and she's the agent and I'm the client and we run through it on hers. And then I say, thanks so much, Sherry, go kill it today. And we hang up. There can be time that you work with your role play partner to say, okay, so we've run this a few times. What feedback do you have for me? What could I be focused on? What can I work on improving? 9 times out of 10, you know what that is. So you don't need somebody else to tell you. But if you do need that, just have a dedicated time that you're talking about that, not the time that you're running through and working on the role play. If you are finding that you are running into a specific personality type that you get stuck with, that shuts you down, talk to your role play partner about role playing as that personality. So what I mean is if you know, excuse me, if you know you're fine, as long as you don't end up with a high D on the phone that's going to talk in bullet points. Sorry, I'm still getting over being sick. Hold on. See if that's better. If they're going to talk in bullet points and talk fast and it's going to shut you down, have your role play partner do that. If they go off on tangents and take you off track and you never get back to close, have your role play partner role play like that. Use that time to really work on the skills that you need to get through. The skills are knowing your conversations, knowing how to be persuasive, no matter what personality type that you're working with, and being prepared for the objections you are most likely going to receive and how to respond to those. The last thing I'll say, and it really does have to be the last thing because obviously I don't have much more voice. My challenge to you is to be consistently good instead of being occasionally great. I see a whole lot of occasionally great in our industry. Consistently good is having time every day that you're dedicated to working on your craft. Consistently good is having time every day that you are dedicated to generating new business, even when you don't want it. Consistently good is building that database incrementally and communicating with them with value and consistency. That's consistently good. Occasionally great is an appointment fell out of the sky and you knocked it out of the park. Occasionally great is you had a day that you decided, I really don't know where my next deal is coming from, so I guess I'm gonna get on the phone. And you knocked through phone calls until you got an appointment. And then you got an appointment, you got a listing, and it was really great. And maybe in 3 months, when you don't know where your next business is coming from, you'll do it. That's occasionally great. Anyone can be occasionally great. Be consistently good. And I'm gonna let my voice rest, grab lunch. Thank you so much for being here and have a great week.
Christmas.